steroid sponsorship. Mark's moving to Russia.
Today we're getting into the bigness of CrossFit too. A little bit of bigness, size. So we brought Mark Hughes with us today for that reason.
All right, so let's get going. Before we go, let's talk about make sure you go onto YouTube and our channel Garage Media. Subscribe to us, like every single one of our videos. Make sure you check us out on iTunes, The Garage Games on iTunes. Give us a 5-star rating for that. Today we've got...
What if they give us a 4-star? What do we do to them for that? Do we have a punishment?
If you give us a 4-star, put your address down there so we can go to your house like, what is it, Jay and Silent Bob? Strike back and they just beat everybody up individually that said something about them online. Okay. All right. So yeah, welcome to GGTV. Today we're talking about the affiliate league and which is kind of partnering up with the Garage Games and all that. Yep. So we're going to find out all about that, and we're going to talk about bodybuilding and incorporating it with CrossFit. Is it smart? Is it not smart? So yeah, buys, tries, and Cindy.
I think it's interesting in the bodybuilding thing too, because I think a lot of people come into CrossFit and they've got that thing in the back of the head, which is what they want to look better naked, right? I mean, that's what they have, and so in that, I think sometimes they might picture themselves as big, right? Yet the reality is, unless you're like really going after it, you tend to shrink. I know I'm smaller since CrossFitting than I was, back in the day. So it's like, I don't know. Do you tell some of that when they come in the gym, or you just hide it?
No, I know. As when I do intros, I'm like, look, if you're here for aesthetics, or I actually tell people, I want to know what your goals are, right? Because I think we talked about goals an episode or so ago. If somebody's goals, if guys in here to get jacked and tan, sorry, bro, it's not what we do. Go do the thing over at Gold's, right? Like, I want people's goals to be like performance oriented or health, because bodybuilding by itself isn't really the most healthy thing in the world.
That's true. Well, James, you've obviously the Atlanta Affiliate League is what you got that thing going, but you've been a gym owner. You've had the affiliate CrossFit Addiction now for a number of years, since 2008, and you're near school, college. So do you find that a lot of the guys come in and that's like their goal is just I want to look good?
Actually, at one point we had more than 80% of our members were male, which is kind of the opposite of what most CrossFits have. Mm-hmm. And I think a big part of that is I come from a coaching background. And
wait a second, I thought CrossFit was only for soccer moms.
Yeah, there's actually a few affiliates I've been to where I was one of the only guys in the class, and it was a female trainer, and I thought, holy crap, if I was single, this is like the new Pilates.
Which location was that?
Mark Hughes, everybody. He's single, by the way, right?
Yes.
Are you single today?
Yes.
So you'd be surprised the number of guys that come to me and they say, I want to put on 20 pounds or 15 pounds, and I go, all right, gallon of milk a day. Yeah. Let's lift heavy. We do a periodization strength program year-round. And then we drink lots of milk at our gym. I don't shy away from packing on muscle. Our girls are some of the strongest in the Atlanta region. So we have a good strength program. And it's actually the opposite. We have people that put on a lot of size at our gym. And sometimes I have to stop them and say, hey, you got to start doing some Metcons here. Like, this isn't Georgia barbell. We're not here to win the back squat deadlift competition. Yeah. We're here to be fit. And then, all right, every month I'll get them to up their Metcons once or twice a week,
Yeah. It is funny. We've got a lot of people that come in that have that as a goal. Like, I just want to get big and strong or whatever. And I try to make everything as individual as you possibly can. Obviously, you're doing group classes, so that's a little bit difficult. So I do have guys that come in here. That's why we have a barbell club where people just want to come in and lift and just get bigger. And I'm okay with that as long as, they're focused on at least functional movements and they're at least trying to stay healthy. But yeah, that is true. People talk, people see the guys on, on ESPN and all that kind of stuff, and they're jacked, and they're like, man, I got to do CrossFit because I want to look like that. They already looked like that when they started CrossFit. So, if you're coming in here to, have that Rich Froning or that Matt Chan or whatever kind of build or whatever you're looking for, you're not going to get that specifically from CrossFit.
Yeah. I think one of the biggest things for me, because I had been into bodybuilding for 10 years or so, and before I started CrossFit, and when I stopped doing MMA in 2007, I felt my cardio just like took a huge downturn. And so when I started doing CrossFit, a lot of it was just doing Metcons, and immediately I lost 15, 20 pounds. And all of a sudden, that's when I started kind of going back and incorporating bodybuilding back into CrossFit, just because mentally I wasn't used to being that small, and it was just tough. It was tough for me to accept that.
Well, you're also you're tall. How tall are you?
6'4".
Yeah, 6'4". So, I mean, you're saying you were small, you probably weighed what? 230?
225.
Yeah, 225. That's tiny. Yeah. So when you're 6'4", obviously 225 doesn't look the same as when you're 5'7".
Well, think about it this way. If you look at those Abercrombie and Fitch catalogs, there's a bunch of guys that look jacked. And I remember being in high school and everyone goes, I want to look like that. I'm 6'2". Never going to happen. I'm never going to be 5'8" and 190 pounds like those guys are. I mean,
your femurs are the size of their torso.
Exactly. And you know, at 6'2", I'd have to put on 40, 50 pounds to be the shape these guys are.
Yeah.
And you know, for tall guys, that's why, Mark, you know, it's impressive for you to be 6'4" and be that size, because that takes a lot of dedication.
It does.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Dedication.
Thanks.
We appreciate it.
Appreciate that. But it was just tough for me. I mean, I think at my biggest, I was 275, 280, and then got a little smaller from fighting MMA. I fought at about 250, and then once I started CrossFit and dropped all that weight, it was just it's different. I mean, when you're so used to yourself being a certain size, mentally, emotionally, it was different. It was tough to accept.
Yeah, it can be. And, you know, the same thing goes back to anything if you're used to. Like, you know, people that are deciding, I recently decided I'm just going to stop competing or whatever and try and be as healthy as I possibly can. The problem is I'm competitive. So it's kind of hard to stop competing when you're at dinner and literally you're trying to finish your food before everybody else, because that's how bad it is, right?
Yeah.
Like, so, yeah, it is difficult. And I don't think it's necessarily 100% like a vanity thing. It's, I mean, there is some, you know, self-confidence that's kind of ingrained in that.
Yeah, I think when you when so many people identify you with how you look, and I mean, for years, like Eric refers to me as Big Mark. So when so many people identify you that certain way, and then even last night, the coach at the gym said, "Hey, you're looking pretty small." Immediately, I went home and stared at myself in the mirror.
Drank a gallon of milk. Oh man, and
that's funny.
Yeah, I did 300 bench press.
So
Reps.
you know, it's interesting. I guess when you think about this whole like traditional bodybuilding training, do you think there's a place for that in CrossFit at all? And what I mean by that, let's I guess we could let the question go wherever it goes, but I'm thinking, like, does it make sense? Like, should you ever do curls? Should you ever do like just tricep specific work?
Not in my gym. If you want to get a $6 a month UFit membership,
you can
knock yourself out. But don't do it in my gym.
No
we're there.
curls.
I'm a strength conditioning coach. I'm there to put programs together. I'm there to take our 60 minutes and optimize a program for warm-up and stretching and lifting and conditioning and skill work. I'm not there to mess around with your triceps, you know what I mean, or the size of your delts. I've had guys come to me and go, you know, bro, I think I'm losing size in my delts. I go, don't ever talk to me again about your delts. Never bring that up in my gym.
And that's why I think it's important to talk about people's goals in the front end, right? Because, like, there are guys that maybe they don't mention it, but maybe they want to get their chest bigger or whatever, and you're not going to probably get your chest bigger doing CrossFit. So, but, you know, at the same token, I think that it's not a bad thing to do isolated movements necessarily, or you know, slow contraction movements. Obviously, if you're going to be doing a buttload of kipping pull-ups, you need to be doing a buttload of strict pull-ups too, right? And a lot of people would consider that more of a bodybuilding type thing, because strict pull-ups aren't typically in competitions, right? So that's, you know, that's not the sport of fitness, but you need those if you don't want to destroy your rotator cuff, you know, like if you want to have that shoulder girdle strength. So I think in that sense, you know, doing some isolated movements, doing some more, you know, like the end range of your kind of contractile capability is probably a smart thing, you know, across the board. But I think, again, the big deal is, like, what are your goals? Do you want to be a CrossFit Games competitor, or do you just want to kind of maintain the best health and fitness that you can, you know?
Well, a good strength and conditioning coach that designs a good, well-rounded program is going to have some of that stuff built in. We're going to have bent over rows. We're going to have Romanian deadlifts. We've got to work on the posterior chain, some hamstring development. We've got trap bars at our gym. We use trap bar deadlifts. A lot of CrossFitters think that's, you know, a no-no.
That's not CrossFit.
Right. Yeah. I've never seen trap bars in the games. And we do external rotators. We do a lot of rehab work with bands. And there's mobility, so CrossFit's real into mobility, but I'm talking about accessory exercises to build you and make you a stronger overall athlete. You know, external rotation is a huge issue for a lot of people. We give them a 5-pound dumbbell, and they can't externally rotate with a 5-pound dumbbell on their side, yet their bench is 225.
Or the same way with, you know, people that can't lay on the side of the ground and abduct their legs, you know, at a 45-degree angle, but they've got a 400-pound squat. There's something wrong with that. So, yeah, I really, really do think that there's a lot of gyms out there that write a lot of that stuff off, maybe because they don't know about it, or, or maybe they just don't know what they're doing, or about real strength conditioning, and B, they just, you know, kind of buy into that whole, like, idea of that's not CrossFit because it's not going to show up at the games or something like that.
But that's also why Charles Poliquin writes so many articles against CrossFit, is because he comes from a background where he looks at muscle balance as being one of the equations to avoid injury. And I can identify as people in our gym within the first session if they're quad dominant, hamstring dominant, the way they squat, the way they move, upper body, if they have thoracic spine mobility and some things we can do for that, postural issues, and they come in and their pecs are tight and they have rounded shoulders. And a lot of these are conversations that I have with my chiro and my physical therapist about their gripes about CrossFit. And then I say, well, if that's your gripe, what would you do? How would you incorporate that into a class? And they give me 3 things. They go, these are the 3 things you want to do for your athletes to get rid of those postural issues or those muscle imbalances. And as a strength and conditioning coach, the next week, put it in the programming. Done,
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, when that's a cool thing is, you know, what is CrossFit, right? Bam. I mean, it's supposed to be functional movement, supposed to be constantly varying, it's high intensity. Is that not CrossFit? I think it is. Absolutely. And I also think that, you know, Poliquin is he's taught and trained way more athletes at a way higher level than any CrossFit coach. I think that could probably, I don't even think that could be argued, right? I mean, he's trained, more Olympic athletes than any other strength conditioning coach in America probably. He knows what he's doing, right? And, you know, a lot of the top CrossFitters pay attention to him, people like James Fitzgerald. And, I mean, that's where they get a lot of their, you know, the tempo training and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, I guarantee you, if you look at a lot of these high-level competitors, they're going to be doing those type of movements, even though, you know, there may not be videos on HQ or main site about it. It's happening. So
yeah. But now we're getting away from bodybuilding, right? Because bodybuilding isn't necessarily about becoming a better athlete or becoming more well-rounded or even avoiding injury, right? It's about putting on size.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, you look in the mirror and you say, ooh, those calves just aren't where they need to be. And then you start blasting the calves 4 days a week, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Mark.
James is pissed.
Man.
No, I agree. I think to a certain extent, I guess, you know, when people think bodybuilding, they think of Ronnie Coleman and Jay Cutler and all those guys or whatever. And I don't necessarily think about that. I do think a certain amount of, you know, strict work and, you know, even maybe some more hypertrophy is probably a good thing. But it's when you get to that threshold of like, okay, now it's inhibiting my range of motion, you know. Or
well, I think now there's a fundamental shift in bodybuilding to where people are competing more in the physique category.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is really, I mean, it's more of a fitness base. It's healthier, and those are the guys that are incorporating CrossFit into their workouts and cross training into their workouts.
Weren't you going to do one of those? What happened with that?
I had
got
been
sick, I think.
No.
Is that the Speedo or are you in board shorts?
No,
Which
that's board shorts.
Oh, okay.
So, but you still have to do squats. But no, I had actually been training for it last year. It was in the beginning of July, and I had CrossFit incorporated into my workouts. I was doing a prowler a couple times a week, and then I ruptured my eardrum 2 weeks out from the event, and then I didn't sleep for a week.
How much does that suck that you had to eat nothing but like salmon and almonds?
I actually,
for like a couple.
To be honest, I actually ate a lot. I mean, my diet varied a lot. I did carb cycling. So there were days of the week that basically sucked where I didn't eat a lot at all. But then there were days where I was eating 10-ounce steak and sweet potatoes 4 or 5 times a day. Wow. So,
it's cool.
Yeah, by the way, there already is a program in CrossFit for people who want to get strong and get big. It's a little known website called CrossFit Football.
Yeah.
And I remember when that website first came out, every guy I knew
John Welborn,
said, I'm switching to CrossFit Football because I want to put on some size and some strength,
right?
Yeah. Right? Strength, yep.
So,
I was a 170-pound guy that wanted to break 200.
A lot of people forgot. It's already out there. They have a program for guys that want to run sprints and they want to do prowlers and they want to do a periodized strength program to put on some size.
And you know, honestly, I think one of the main reasons why that hasn't blown up even bigger after it's kind of like inception, or when it really got that big, is that it's not quite as random as like Main Site or as like a lot of these other people, because they're focusing on more kind of fundamental movements
or diverse.
Yeah, exactly.
You get tired of doing the same 7 things,
not as
dumbbell
fun.
thrusters and heavy deadlifts. You know, where's the pistols and
sorry,
double unders and all the gymnastic stuff that people really love.
But that buys into the whole the training ADD, right? Like, oh hey, I found something that works. Let's go do something else. And that's what most CrossFitters have, I think.
I have a big joke at our gym. I say the best program is the one you're not doing, right?
Exactly.
That program's going to be the one that's going to change my life. 6 weeks later, nothing really happened.
Yeah, exactly.
But there's always another one.
Keep changing. Just keep changing. It'll happen someday, right?
Keep changing, yeah.
So it sounds like the consensus is that it's got to be functional, right? Like I hear that as everyone's talking here. Like, okay, there's still got to be a real functional component here to see value in this thing. And, of course, that's what we do. It's always functional. So an isolated movement on a rotator cuff makes sense because it's functional. We're working at least towards the inhibition of injury, which we know is something that is a concern for sure. So
I don't necessarily think that calf raises
not
have
going to
a
help.
Place in,
not going to help.
Yeah. I mean,
I think you're right.
Yeah, I mean, there's quite a few movements that probably don't have its place.
Just curious, you brought calf raises up. Has anyone here actually ever had size increase in their calves from calf raises? Because it never worked for me.
I have the tiniest calves in the world.
Me too. I did this forever. I was a bodybuilder guy forever because we all were, like all through through the college hockey years. And I never could get my calves to look any better. I was always the most self-conscious person ever with my calves.
Yeah, I mean, I remember I tried the do calves every day. I've tried do calves once a week, and nothing works. Your calves are your calves, pretty much.
Maybe that's why we're against them. We're like the bitter ex-boyfriend. Like,
exactly.
She's a bitch anyway.
I love this CrossFit thing because they don't worry about calves. Oh.
I actually bought when I was like,
just get some high socks and you cover them up real quick.
You guys remember
wear pants in July? That's what most guys do. They just wear pants in the gym, and that's why they don't do CrossFit, because we don't have air conditioning.
I think it's the
so
opposite.
If you're gonna wear pants in July, you got to go to a gym with air conditioning.
I think it's the opposite. Right. I think you should always wear cutoff jean shorts, and that way it forces you to work your legs, right? No, I had when I was 10 or 11, I had my parents go out and buy me those shoes. You remember these things? They were regular shoes, but they had this. It looked like an iron on the bottom of them that raised your heel that far off the ground, so you were just always on your toes. And it still didn't work, but it made my calves cramp up. I just wore them like all day, one day, and then I was sore for 3 weeks.
Don't high heels kind of do the same thing? Like girls that wear high heels, their calves are like
that didn't work for me either
the whole time.
They are. You got to love that.
I tried that too.
That shortened hamstring effect. It really does work well on the calves. It does. I tell you, it's funny. In my chiropractic world, right? I run into people who are of all sorts of different, like, diverse thoughts of what is fitness and so forth. I'm always kind of trying to push them all in the CrossFit, and we're high volume, so I see a lot of people. And man, over the course of a day, you see such a diversity and stuff. So over the years, I've seen every single gimmick show up, right? There was a period of time where I swear it was probably like 20 women a day would show up into my office wearing those rocker soled shoes. And I'm like, no, what are we doing here?
I immediately think of geriatrics whenever I see it.
Exactly. It's nonstop, constant exercise. I'm always getting fitter all the time.
By the way, Reebok just settled their lawsuit about those shoes, claiming that they could help people lose weight.
Oh, really? I didn't know that happened. Well, look at that.
I didn't even know there was a lawsuit.
So that was what they did before CrossFit.
Yeah.
It was
RockFit. Stupid. Stupid.
Man.
When are we going to understand that there is no? We're good. All right. So we lost audio for a second there.
Does it come down?
All right. So what were we talking about? We're talking about calves. We're talking about Eric's and mine's tiny calves.
Are we done with calves? I think we're done with calves.
We're done with calves.
Rocker, yeah.
Rocker arms. There you go.
Rocker shoes, yeah. It's so and that's the thing too. I get people coming all the time with like the whole new I'm doing it's P90X and Insanity, and then there's something new that it's like P30X or 20X or something. I'm like, oh, they've been watching the CrossFit videos, right? So they got down to like a 20-minute type of a deal. And I'm like, yeah, so that's cool. I'm glad you're doing that. It's better than nothing. Definitely look at taking that next step, right? And then of course we have all those, those ways to make fun of them. Oh yeah, we call that aerobics in CrossFit, or we call that Pilates in CrossFit. Sorry to the Pilates people, I know there's value there. So anyways, P90X, yeah, P30X, 20X, who knows what it's going to be. So, Justin, we good over there? You like it? We rolling?
I'm looking at it. I want to make sure of something. We're going to take a real quick break, and we'll be back. We're going to talk about the Affiliate League. Sound good?
Good.
Rock and roll. Hey guys, Justin with the Garage Games, and I've actually had a lot of emails and people ask me about what's the best way to make the bulletproof coffee that we talk about a lot. I'm going to show you today how to make it both the cheapest and quickest way, and then give you some options about how you want to do it. The first thing that we'll talk about is the coffee. Now you can go to bulletproofexecutive.com or upgradedself.com and get you probably the best coffee beans that you can probably get with the highest antioxidants. But it's also fairly expensive. So if you want to go get a regular Starbucks, if that's what you're drinking, that's not that huge of a deal. You're going to want to make sure that you get regular whole coffee beans, though, not ground coffee, because that is definitely going to degrade the amount of antioxidants that stay in the coffee. Also, don't freeze your coffee. So you want about 3/4 of a cup of whole coffee beans. You're going to need a grinder. So we'll come here. These run about $20 at Walmart, or Target, and definitely going to need one of these. You want to grind the coffee beans not as fine as a regular ground coffee that you buy at the store. So I'm just shaking it up here to make sure I get all the beans ground, but it's going to be a little bit more coarse than regular coffee. So that looks pretty good right there. So we're going to go ahead and put that into the French press. Now, the French press is not something that you have to do. If you don't have a French press, you don't want to buy it. You can just get a regular coffee maker. I'm going to put that in there. Now, the French press isn't a must, but I recommend you guys go spend $20 at Target with it. If you don't want to, though, you can get a regular coffee machine and just put your grind beans in there and make it like normal. This is a way better way to do it, though. So what we're going to do with this is we'll get the French press here. We've got the coffee in there, about 3/4 cup, ground coarsely. And then we've heated up about a quart or so of water in a kettle. Now, a kettle is also something that you don't have to have. Even if you do the French press, you can heat it up on a stove, but this is way quicker. It takes your prep time down in about half the time. And again, it's probably $30, I think, at Target or Walmart. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to pick this up, pour it in here. You're going to fill it up until it is about 1.5 inches away from the metal ring. You're going to let this sit for 60 seconds just like it is, and then you're actually going to stir it up just kind of lightly, and then we'll put the top on it and let it set for another 4 minutes. So we're going to go ahead and let that happen, and then we'll come back. All right, we're back. So the coffee has brewed, and what I'm going to do now is I'm about to press this down, and that's actually going to press the coffee so it takes the grinds to the bottom. Before that, I want to talk about the actual stuff that we're going to put in the coffee, though. So what we've got here is we've got grass-fed butter. Now, this is an absolute must. This is not something you want to skimp on. You don't want to get regular butter because the grass-fed is going to make it higher in the omega-3 fatty content, which is exactly what you want for this. You can get this and pay $5+ for this brick at Publix, but if you go to a Trader Joe's, if there's one near you, you can get it for like $2, half that price. Next thing up is coconut oil. Now, I get the organic coconut oil. You don't have to get that if you don't want to. You can save some money that way and just get some regular coconut oil. I don't think I have any here with me right now, but you can get that at pretty much any Publix or Kroger or anything like that. So these are the two things that we're going to do. Now, I'm going to press this down. You want to make sure that you don't actually press it. You just kind of put the weight of your hand on it and then take it down all the way to the bottom. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to take about 1 tablespoon of coconut butter, or coconut oil, I'm sorry. If it's warmer, this will actually be more of an oil than anything else. They say to do 1 teaspoon, but I typically do more than 1 cup at a time, and that's per cup. So I go ahead and take a tablespoon, put it in there. And then we're going to take 2 tablespoons of butter and put it into our shaker. Now here's what's kind of cool about this, is that if you read everywhere, they want you to put it in an actual blender and blend this up. All right, if you don't have one or you don't have the time to do all that, you can actually put it into a shaker bottle. Now if you have a Boston shaker made out of glass or metal that you would make a cocktail in, that would be better. Just because it's glass and you're not putting a hot liquid into a plastic, which can sometimes have, you know, carcinogenic properties or whatever. So, but we actually, mine's dirty, so I'm just going to go ahead and put that in this today. Not that big of a deal. We're going to pour the entire French press in here, which is going to make about 1.5 large cups of coffee, or mugs of coffee. We're going to put the top on. I'm just going to bring this over to the sink. Now, give credit to Chris Moore for this little trick here. We were down in Miami a couple weeks ago, and we didn't have a blender, and he decided to use this. Pretty cool trick. So when you do this, make sure you got a nice tight on the top, because the heat is going to create a lot of pressure. And make sure it's over the sink in case it pops off or if you lose anything. And you're just going to shake this up like you would a protein drink or something like that until you see that there's no longer any butter solids or coconut oil solids in there. That looks about good. Now when you do this and you take this off, you want to be careful because there's quite a bit of pressure in there, right? So after that, all you got to do pour it in there. You see it's doesn't look like a latte. It's very, very dark, but it's got a great frothy taste to it at the top. I think that's it, guys. Again, the French press you can get for about $20. The kettle, electric, you can get for about $30. And then this goes for $2 to $5, depending on where you find it at. And you can get coconut butter for anywhere from $6 to $12 if you go organic with it. That is the best way to do it. Now, if you're trying to do it exactly how Bulletproof Executive does it, go to his site, buy those products, but if you don't have the money for it, this is as good as well. He recommends MCT oil, which is basically coconut oil. All right, so that's it. We'll see you guys at the garage games. Bring me some of this, if you don't mind. All right, cool.
So...
Let's.
What were we talking about? I don't know.
What is that? That's our new song. Look for the EP.
It's a country album. I got some barbells.
Do they still have EPs, Eric?
Yes, they do have EPs. What, you don't pay attention?
Would that be a 7-inch record?
It's called no.
Rappers come out with
EPs. It's called 4 songs on an iTunes deal, baby.
Yeah,
it's called Eric's Podcast. That's what EP is.
Baby.
Rappers come out with EPs every Sunday.
They do.
They call them mixtapes.
They do, exactly.
You know, I think James is like a young Shane Stewart.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, he talks more in the microphone, though.
Or an attractive Shane Stewart. That's what I'm saying, yeah. A caffeinated,
he just called you attractive. Uh-oh. What's happening?
Oh, right, hey. I like James. Oh, I just met him. I like him.
Let's talk about the affiliate league here. So I'm gonna start this thing up because I think this is good. I got a good thing I can talk about with the affiliate league. So way back when the garage was started, so this was 2008, July 2008, same as actually CrossFit Addiction. We got, was it actual physical paper I got in the mail from you, or was it actually an email? I forget. Maybe it was an email. I swear that was so long ago. I'm not sure if they had the emails. Yeah, we did. So so James sent an email out to all the local affiliates and said, hey, I want to do a CrossFit, I forget what the full name was, you know, Atlanta League. Get your team together from your gym. Let's get together. We'll try to meet up like every other weekend or so, and we'll have, you know, we'll play games. We'll do this thing, right? So it was James that had that, and he sent that out. And then it was like, I don't know, 2 months later, it's like, yeah, so CrossFit really doesn't like what I'm doing with this league. So we're not going to be doing it now.
Didn't see that one coming.
Like,
so
we're growing CrossFit.
The original idea was, I met my wife at University of Georgia. We played intramural softball. My 6 roommates and I were 4-sport athletes, so we played intramural sports at UGA at a really high level all year round. Indoor soccer, basketball, flag football, and then co-ed softball. We went to the championship game every year in almost every sport. So that's been a big part of my life. I grew up playing in leagues. And when I got to CrossFit, I asked the question at one point, like, where's the leagues? How do I sign up for like a men's adult CrossFit league? And they said, leagues? There are no leagues. So I wrote an article for the CrossFit Journal. I've had a few articles in there. And I said, the future of CrossFit is the sport. We need to focus on the sport, not the lose 10-pound side of CrossFit. Like, the sport is what people love, and they'll spend a lot of money on sports. Think about how much money people spend on golf. My gosh. And they'll do it for 40 years. Once you lose 10 pounds, then you're happy you stop. Like, oh, met my goal, I'm out. So I said, I think the future of CrossFit is the sport. That was before Reebok. That was like 2008 when the games were just starting. They were at the ranch. And then I sent that article in. It was supposed to get published. At the last second, the editor of the Journal emailed me back and said, we're pulling it. It's pissed everybody off at HQ. Everyone's pissed. It's gone around in a huge email. There's a big thread. Everyone's upset. They don't like the tone of it. They don't like the ideas of it. And part of the idea was, how do you develop a new sport? You start at the local level, and you have to start young, because there's no sense in having professional athletes if the kids aren't playing to develop the skills to become professional athletes.
Isn't it funny how in the old days they were so worried about being PC, and now they're literally posting pictures of women naked doing pull-ups on their main site?
Oh, I didn't like that. Yeah. Didn't like that.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it.
Well,
actually,
yeah, I guess.
But yeah,
I've got two daughters. You've got a son.
That's true.
Totally different.
I've only got to worry about one. You've got to worry about all of them.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's funny because that first season, you guys were one of the hosts. The CrossFit Garage was one of the hosts, and I have a picture along with the article and some other stuff that it's framed in my gym, and the picture is of the CrossFit Garage and all the teams here competing. And it was nice. You know, it was super cool. It was the first time anybody had ever taken the league concept and put it into CrossFit. And then now we fast forward 4 years later, and you know, the Atlanta League's the largest team competition series in the country. We do more events, but we only do team events. We try to do 3-week seasons, 6-week seasons, and we do round robin tournaments, and then we do single elimination, double elimination bracket tournaments, all team based. And that's kind of how it's evolved. Now there's lots of leagues all over the place, and you know, this is where the garage games came in.
Yeah, and it's cool. I think, you know, something that we saw early on with this whole league concept, and Mark, were you on the team for our first team, right?
Yeah, I was on the first team, and I think the first week we actually went against it was the Garage Against Addiction.
So the reason I mentioned that is I just want to point out that we don't discriminate against bodybuilders for our team.
Well, here's the funny thing about that. The workout was deadlifts and kettlebell swings. It's a CrossFit football workout.
That's why we put you in.
Low rep, heavy deadlifts, heavy kettlebell swings, low rep.
That.
And I remember Mark got done in like 3 minutes, and we were like, holy crap. That was like top 5 in the country at the time. There were guys that played like arena football that didn't match that time on that workout. It was impressive.
And actually,
hold on, let me interject real quick, because had there been pull-ups, he wouldn't even finish because he would have got no rep, because his biceps are so large he can't reach full extension.
If they were strict pull-ups, I'd be okay.
Yeah, but still no full extension. Well, I'm going to put a video of you doing pull-ups for the Biloxi Blues standards.
I was like 6 feet off the ground. I couldn't even go all the way down. My knees would have hit.
You don't remember? We had it actually set up to where your feet were on the ground because you couldn't do chest to bars. I'm just kidding.
That's awesome. Jumping chest to bars. You're just
jumping chest to bars.
But you can't see his feet, so you don't know they're jumping.
That's actually what we did.
Yeah. So that was kind of cool, right? So what we saw though, and I know Mark has commented about this to me in the past, is that people will sign up to do this affiliate league team concept that would never, ever, ever put themselves out in one of our other competitions, right? So we have competitions all over the place, and even competitions that are just beginner-focused competitions, but the beginner is still nervous as all get out to put themselves in front of people. So when you start to describe this, well, it's going to be like a smaller group of people, you and just another gym, and there's not really a whole lot of spectators, and there's not a whole lot of stress. They're like, yeah, this sounds like maybe I could. Or what they say is, well, I don't really know. I don't want to do that. But they come out and they watch one, and then they see it, and they say, oh, I could do that. That's not so scary. I'll do that. And sure enough, next season around, they sign up. And so, and I know this is true in what happened. So tell me, do you remember the numbers from the first season athletes to second season athletes?
Yeah, so the first season we had 14 teams with 6 people on each team. The second season we had 32 teams, and we cut it off a month early. So we opened up registration, I think it was like 6 or 7 weeks before. It took 2 or 3 weeks to hit 32 teams, and I cut it off because I knew at that point logistically it was going to be a complete nightmare for me to plan And that's where we started looking for some type of league management program to handle the amount of volume that we were getting on registrations and just the logistics of having people all over the city competing in different locations. And that was a big part of it. Where are you competing? When are you competing? Who's competing against who? Which week? At what time? And there are league management programs for soccer and t-ball and everything else, but there was nothing for CrossFit at the time. So we took a platform and we created our own little CrossFit league, affiliate league program that manages that. And that's what the Atlanta League uses. It's brainless. It handles all of our registrations, puts people into teams, sorts them into regions. You can have divisions. The schedule comes out, so if there's any questions, they log into their profile and they can look at the time and the place of where they're competing. So it's all kind of come together. And he's exactly right. Like one of the main concepts of the Atlanta League was people love team sports, right? You play baseball growing up or football, and you have these 7 or 8 or 9 dudes that are practicing every day together, and it's super fun. And then all of a sudden you join CrossFit, and it's like shooting hoops in your driveway by yourself. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, yeah, it's cool to play one-on-one basketball, but 5-on-5 is just a lot more fun. Yeah. And that's where I think a lot of the Atlanta League came from, is that desire for me and a bunch of other people to be part of a team again and play a team sport.
Yeah, we've talked about that before too, and I think there is a huge difference between the sport of fitness, or what you see, the spectacle on ESPN and the team aspect and even the individual aspect, and then what goes on every single day in CrossFit gyms. And I think one of the issues is that people don't see the difference between that. They think one is the other. And for the large majority of the population that are coming out here that are just trying to be as as healthy as they possibly can, it's a completely different thing from what they see on ESPN. So, and in one aspect, people can become intimidated by it and then not come and try it. And then another aspect, people want to do that when they probably don't have any place in doing that at that high level anyways. So, I mean, I think that if we can separate it a little bit better and make everybody understand that it's kind of two different things. It really is. A sport of fitness and CrossFit, as it was kind of understood in the beginning, is two different things. And I think I think everybody will be better off for it. Not just HQ, but all the affiliates and everything else too.
Yeah.
So here's an interesting thing that I think that I've noticed over the last 4 years is I'm starting to see more team events. I keep my hand on the pulse of team competition. I want to know what other people are doing, where the innovation's coming. Haven't really seen a lot of innovation. It's still scaled in RX. It's 3 workouts. It's a single-day thing. Now, granted, they have teams, which I think is a step forward, but it's still kind of the same. 7 years ago, you went to a CrossFit competition. I think now it's kind of the same thing. Haven't really evolved or innovated. I think one of the ways that people need to innovate when it comes to team competitions is make them team workouts. Don't take an individual workout and add 3 people. That's, Helen, Fran, Grace, great, except now we get to do it as a team, right?
It's a relay.
Now, there's no strategy in that, right? I think strategy is kind of like a choose-your-own-adventure book. When you get to end of page 5, it goes, if you want to do blankety blank, turn to page 112. If you want to make this other decision, go to page 175. So as you look at a lot of the team programming that the Atlanta League is doing specifically, I'm trying to figure out ways to take really creative, unique programming and put it into our workout so that every team can do kind of their own version of a workout. There's lots of options. There's lots of weight options. There's lots of substitution player options. And so the captain has to really brainstorm with his team 4 or 5 days and start practicing variations of the workout rather than just saying, all right, we're the fittest team, we're going to win.
Full disclosure, if you're under 30, you're going to have to go look up on Google what a choose-your-own-adventure book is. They probably make a choose-your-own-adventure app, though.
That's probably true.
Yeah.
That is true.
I think that's part of why the leagues are so attractive to people because, like you said, I mean, when you can divide work up, you can have people who are beginners and intermediate you could have somebody on your team that's strong, you can have somebody on your team that's fast, and they're able to excel in what they're good at. So I think that's what attracts a lot of people to it. It's not just them getting an individual score for an individual workout to where they're kind of soloed out and everybody's looking at them. You can kind of work with what your strength is.
Plus, if you fail, you can blame it on the other teammate.
Exactly.
If it had been an individual, I'd have killed it.
So here's something actually interesting about that. This weekend, we had a competition. Our team, which is pretty stacked, they win a lot. They don't beat some of the regionals and games teams out there, but they're a good little team. I, as a owner of CrossFit Addiction, I let them make their own decisions. They have their own captain. They choose their own strategy. The workout that they did this weekend, they made a decision. I kind of vocalized my distaste on that decision, and they DNF'd the workout. Ooh. And I think afterwards it was kind of like, oops, wrong strategy. The fittest guys in the room sometimes don't win.
That's for sure.
given the wrong
Absolutely.
strategy. And I think that's the way it should be, right?
2012, we had Rich Froning, Dan Bailey, and what's the other guy?
Easy was on that team,
Easy
right?
on there, and then one other regional.
Or did he not make it
games
for that
competitor.
team?
No, he was there. I judged them in that one event.
Okay, who else did they have?
Some other regional or games level athlete. By far,
at Garage
the
Games
most,
1.
Yeah.
I mean, stacked team.
Yeah.
Did they take maybe
Like 4th or something like that.
Yeah, I think they were off podium, 4th place or so.
Yeah.
So it's definitely strategy was a big part of that. Yeah, and then actually know thyself. This is a workout that we're doing. We did it for us versus them here. We're doing it again for Garage Games 1. It's a team workout that we just recently announced. Well, by the time this is out, probably announced a few weeks back. But the workout is simply there's a stack of stuff you got to do. You know,
Hey, that's not true. We release it immediately as far as everybody else is concerned.
That's right.
We literally, it's
within
live.
5 minutes. This will be up. I'm sorry. So pull-ups, double unders, box jumps, snatch, and deadlift. Those are the movements, right? And we have all this stuff that's got to be done. But what we tell them, and I love this concept because I know it makes everyone sweat it for the weeks leading up to it. They have to tell us ahead of time what each individual person is doing. They get to divide it however they want. But they have to tell me. So if we're a team of 4 here, so Justin's going to do this many reps of this at this weight. You get 2 barbells. You got to set the barbell beforehand. You can't change it during. You're going to do this many reps on that barbell of this many of this many reps of that, this many of this. You're going to do this many of this many, this many, this many. So then the day of the competition comes, and you each have your own judge and your own scorecard, which is what you told us you're going to do, and you have to do it. And what really sucks about that is that, we call it know thyself for this reason, that people just, they might test it at fresh, state, right?
Yeah.
Not at all fatigued, not after another workout, not after a day of competition. And so they test it and they work on it like, okay, yeah, we got it down. And then they come into competition and they've got, some stuff under their belt already. They're feeling a little weak, a little fatigued, a little whatever. And it doesn't work out. And you got like 3 people done over here and you got the one last person. And let's like a minute later, they're still working. 2 minutes later, they're still working. 3 minutes later, they're still working. Oh, time cap, you didn't finish your work. Well, everyone else had they only taken some of that person's reps, right? But I love that concept of this workout for that reason that you said. It makes a team think. It makes them have to figure out, hey, how are we going to work together on this and make this work out?
My favorite part about it,
I love it,
is I have athletes coming to me with spreadsheets.
Yeah, exactly. That's what they do.
So I've got it. This is my QuickBooks, and
option A, option B, option C.
We're gonna do this. So they do the workout 30 times.
Oh yes,
30 different ways. So by the time it comes, and I think those are the 2 types of teams. The teams are probably like, we'll figure it out, whenever or whatever.
When we did that for us versus them, I think we practiced it 3 times before the actual event.
Yeah, there you go.
So, and then when we did it for the event, we finished our first person and our last person were 10 seconds apart.
So
nice.
I
That's
definitely
well
think
That's
the
well
people that did it at Us First Them, if you happen to be at Us First Them, you're going to have a huge advantage.
Yeah.
So
we had the team that won that here at Us versus Them was a team of masters, and I think really what it came down to is they made wise decisions on their barbell, and they worked within their capacities. They didn't. No one said, "Well, I'm amazing, so I'm going to do all this work," and then just get stuck not finishing it. They were very smart with that. So. Cool.
So here's kind of another thing about the leagues that you notice is, like you just mentioned, you can tell the teams that practice beforehand. Mm-hmm. You can tell the teams that compete a lot. You can also tell the teams that compete a lot together.
Yeah.
So if a team, 6 random people said, hey, we're all not busy, let's do this. And there's a team that the same 6 or 7 people sign up for every competition. You can tell that as a judge. I've judged tons and tons of events. I've judged Garage Games events. I did Garage Game 1 last year as a judge. And you can tell right away who's been practicing the workouts. Think about the first time you do any workout. You look back on that and you say, you know what, there were some times there I went a little too fast on the box jumps, and maybe I split that up into 20 and 20 instead of 40 straight kettlebells, et cetera. And as a team, it's the same thing. You go back through it the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th time, and it's almost like a science now. You're like, we know exactly how we're going to do it, the reps, who's switching back and forth. Mm-hmm. Now, day of, things might change because someone's got a little tight hamstring or whatever. My buddy says a plan is a list of things you'll never do, but it still behooves you to practice.
What is it? Everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the face. Was that Mike Tyson? Yeah.
But I think, you made a good point there, like that switching back and forth thing. It's amazing when you go and you look at teams who are just good athletes, but they never really practice together. They don't know their transitions. They don't know that I'm going to communicate that I've got 3, 2, 1, you, right? And so it's like they just stop. And then the other person's like, wait, what? Who? Oh, me? You know, and there's seconds just wasted away over and over and over. So
well, I think that's why nobody really gives a crap about the Pro Bowl in football either, right? I mean, that should be the most popular event ever. And when you look at the stands, there's 20 people in there watching like every single superstar in the NFL that you could possibly imagine.
Yeah.
And the games suck. And well,
it's a team sport, right?
Yeah.
Superstars don't really work well together.
Absolutely.
Team sport, yeah.
Which is kind of funny that you mentioned that, because I've had a few conversations just recently with guys that are amazing individual athletes, and I said, you know, why don't you and 3 of these other amazing athletes get together and just mop up the floor at these team events? I mean, you could make 60, 70, 80,000 this year off of prize money. They go, nope, I only do individual.
Yeah.
And I go, why? You can win way more money as a team. They go, nope, I don't share the spotlight.
I think
and I go, what? Yeah, I said, hey guys, hey, CrossFit's a big sport, but let's be realistic. You know what I mean?
You know what?
Where we're at here.
You know what? I mean, probably the best example of that is, well, I forget the name of it that HQ did or whatever over in Europe. They did like the World Championships where it was like Team America versus Team Europe or whatever. America literally had like the 1, 2, and 3 spot like across the board, and they still lost.
Yeah.
Right? And I mean, who knows? I mean, obviously it was really stacked on the guys, and our girls weren't quite up to snuff apparently. So, but still, I mean, like it doesn't necessarily mean you got the number 1, the number 2 guy, and the number 3 guy competing against the number 7, 8, and 9 guy. If those guys can compete better and they can be more efficient as a team, of course they're going to win.
Yep, absolutely.
So not to change the subject, but just a quick shift, Eric. You guys have just tons of these leagues going on. I know you got a lot of stuff planned. One thing I've always wanted to do is I've wanted to do inter-league competition. So the original goal was start the Atlanta League, help other people start leagues, and then eventually one day we could have an East Coast, league where Atlanta's playing Greenville, and then Boston comes in, and Philadelphia, and New York, and Florida, and all that. And I mean, think about if we all have a 6-week season, and then we send our top 3 teams from each league.
BCS championships.
Dude, I mean, it's amazing. Yeah, I mean.
Who's going to be the SEC?
Yeah, that's cool. And that's a good segue just to kind of just further talk about what we're doing right now. So Garage Games, we've got this reach that is pretty significant. We've got a lot of relationships with affiliate owners. I guess that's a big part of it, right? Is that we have
Emily Bridgers, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, Emily's in the room. Hey. So we have this we've got this great entree into these affiliate owners. And so we were looking about 3 years ago saying, hey, we need to take these leagues and put them elsewhere. And so I was like, well, let's go see what James is doing because if he's doing this here locally, maybe we can figure something out. Go over to James's site and I say, oh, it says right there, if you want to start a league, contact us. So then I contacted James, like, hey man, we want to do this league thing, and I don't want to step on your toes. I see you're doing this. Well, can we work together? So that's what happens, right? So we come together, and so now the affiliate league is something that we're doing. We're taking that out to the world.
And like James said, he had about 1 million things going on, so he was like, "Thank God, yes."
Yeah, and this is actually for me same thing, right? Like, we got to do this because this is an opportunity that's there, and people are asking for it. So that's why Mark, he's got multiple roles. He's our resident bodybuilder guy here today.
Mark Huge.
He's also really my main guy for taking the affiliate league out to the world here too, so that we can get these affiliate leagues rolling all over the place. So. And I think that's one of the cool things. So one thing I offered to them that I love the response I got back was, hey, what we'll do is, somewhere midweek or mid-season, one of those weeks, we're going to have all of you do the exact same workout. And I'm going to forward you guys the login information for you so you can upload your scores to just our leaderboard. So we'll have a leaderboard just populated with everybody. So it's like a worldwide WOD in the middle of a league. And everyone loved that. Like, oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
I like that. I want to do that.
The more you can, that's definitely the direction that I think it has to go. The more you can integrate people with it, and the more you can show them that like the work that you put in is actually noticed, and it's not just like in the water, in the middle of the ocean where nobody's seeing it. Then I think you're going to get more interest in it. So
well, flag football has a 7-on-7 national championship.
Yeah, and
I watch it on ESPN 3 or whatever, or 2 or whatever it is.
The Ocho.
And I mean, think about all the flag football leagues all over the country. They whittle it down to one awesome team for that region, and then those regions come together and they do a big championship. It's super cool to see those amazing athletes. It's a fringe sport, but it's cool, and it got picked up by major TV. And eventually, I'd love to see an affiliate league national championship. You get the 7 or 8 biggest markets with the biggest leagues. They each send one diesel team, and then we all fly out to Dallas, Texas, or something, and we do a big.
It's definitely going to happen. I think it's going to happen. It's a matter of time. I mean, as long as ESPN keeps growing and Reebok is still on that whole CrossFit chain, You know, I mean, it's going to happen. It's a natural direction. Rather if it's HQ that does it, or if it's you know, another party that maybe used to be at HQ and now isn't.
Well, we'll talk about that right now, actually. So I've been talking with Tony actually quite a bit here in the last 2 weeks. Tony Budding. We've got a significant email chain because we're trying to get him to come to GG1 and come stand on stage and tell us about this a little bit more. And so the Pro Fitness League is what we're talking about here.
It's a national pro in PFL, National Pro Fitness League.
If you go to just profitnessleague.com, that's his website right now, where you see what's going on there. And so, you know, and he's got TV lined up, and he's got all this stuff lined up. And February 11th, I know he's hosting some kind of a meeting across the country for interested teams. Well, the Garage Games, the reason we've been talking is because we have interest in the idea of owning a team. And yet we've yet to hear what that cost is, so it might just and what I've said to the guys is I hope it's one of two things. I hope it's either just completely out of our reach, expensive, so that the people who are behind it can actually make it go, right? Or I hope that it's cheap enough that we can be involved, but selective enough that, you know, he'll make sure that the people involved have that access to, you know, other sponsors to help support, or, you know, whatever.
It's not just a box that wants to do a team. You're
not just a box, yeah, and we know that's definitely going to be the case, right?
Yeah,
we get how serious he's taking this and how big this is going to be. So, you know, so who knows? You know, I would have told the guys, I'm like, hey, if it's 20 grand, I think, you know, boom, we're in like that. If it's 250 grand, I don't know. We're probably not in.
So I think a lot of
the way my checking account's set up, I got a checking and a savings, and I keep all my money in my savings. So I don't know.
So if you just give me 7, 8, 10 weeks or so, I'll come up with it. Can you, I'm good for it. Can you spot me?
You know, I look at that idea, and my thoughts on it are: there's a lot of great ideas that don't happen because of the timing, and I think we'll see. Is it the right time? Are people going to get on board with it next year? Would more people have gotten on board with it? You know,
sure.
Maybe if it doesn't work out, you put it on the back burner for a year, and then in 2015 it just goes nuts, because at that point there's so many team competitions, and people are more interested in the team side of things. Maybe it'll happen this year, you know, but timing is a big thing.
Absolutely, it's the difference between HD, DVD, and Blu-ray. I use that analogy a lot, but I mean, you know.
Absolutely.
You know, obviously it came out first, but, you know, the timing wasn't quite there.
Yeah.
But like I said, I think it's going to happen regardless of if it happens here, if it happens a year from now, or whatever. So.
Well, we know it'll happen. We've been in this thing long enough. We've seen this grow enough that we know that it's going to happen. There's no doubt. But yeah, will it really take off, or, you know, will it end up being kind of stifled? And, you know, who knows what'll happen if it gets stifled too.
All right.
So.
We're going to call it, guys. Before we sign off, obviously you got some stuff we want to promote.
Yeah. So
before we say anything, is it official? Can we promote? You said as of...
Pretty sure we can promote as of an hour ago. We're good.
All right, we good? All right, cool. So new sponsor of the Garage Games 1 is Play. It's go ahead and tell us a little bit about it, Mark, since you are with them.
Play is they make sports performance flooring. But what we're going to be doing for Garage Games 1 is providing all the mats for the Swanee Sports Academy.
Eric's so excited about that.
Does that mean I don't have to carry mats before and after the event?
You might just have to roll them out.
Yeah, well, at least it's better to roll out. Like, I remember last year it was just was it Friday night? We're not going to talk about it. It's like, you know, the AstroTurf. You showed me some of the stuff or whatever, and I probably sound like I'm pushing for them or whatever, but the AstroTurf and the what is it, the platforms,
right,
like the kind of faux platforms, freaking amazing.
It's really, I mean, our product line is very extensive. I mean, we have turf with both a foam underlayment as well as a rubber underlayment. We do platforms. There's a lot of the colleges, and we've been doing stuff in a lot of colleges and pro sports teams. Penn State weight room, a lot of collegiate weight rooms. And what we do is we do an inlay platform, so everything is smooth, fits in with the entire gym. It's the Achieve product is a 2-layer system, so it has a wear layer on top of the underlayment, but it's really top quality stuff. We also do, what we're doing for Garage Games 1 is our new product called Cross Grind. What it is, we're basically going into gyms, we're taking out their old floors, we're going into Georgia Tech this month, removing their old floors. We're going to grind it up, throw some tires in there, make a brand new product out of it.
It's actually really cheap, I heard, too.
Yeah, it's very, to be honest, it is.
It's very comparable with
price point is right in line with stall mats. You're getting 4-foot wide rolls. When you glue it, it's basically seamless. You can also use double stick tape. Still, it's a really clean look.
Cool.
So, and I'll say what I love is when you look at these different collegiate gyms. I love the branding, in the floor. I love a floor. It's got like logos everywhere. I mean, it just looks awesome.
Because that's one of the things that's
Eric's
really cool.
Natural born marketer.
We'll see if it happens in time. But I want my stations. I want stations. I want my station 1, 2, 3. Because we got big plans. If we can do it, it's gonna.
Yeah, and you can really
spectator friendly to the end.
We do water jet cutting on the mat, so we can cut logos in. Just different. All the collegiate.
Who needs knives?
Yeah, the collegiate platform. The collegiate platforms all have. The logos within the platform. It's all flush. Looks amazing.
Cool. Well, Eric, we promote anything here? We got Garage Games 1 coming up.
Yeah, Garage Games 1 is coming up, so of course that's a big thing. We know that we're going to have a ton of people there. We've got great competitors like Emily Bridges showing up, and it's going to be awesome. A lot of games competitors. The women's side is actually pretty stacked right now with people, and I know there's more coming out actually over there. Right now, elite men, I'm waiting to see. We got a few people who've been saying that they're trying to figure out how to get in that. So that's cool. That's exciting. I think the fact that we got James here today, we're talking leagues.
Yeah.
GarageGames.affiliateleague.net. That's a site that I want everyone to come check that out. Just say, hey, give me a league. Let me get into this. On the GarageGames.com, there is a tab that says leagues, and you can look at some of the leagues going on and some of the information there too. So, pretty cool thing. I think the leagues are definitely the way that we're going to be able to take this to the place where we can all call it our sport.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and obviously not just the affiliate, but the Atlanta Affiliate League too, James. So go check that out. What's the website for that?
AtlantaLeague.com.
AtlantaLeague.com. Good name.
Awesome.
Good website. I like it.
PlayUSA.com. PLAE.
There you go.
USA.com.
And
of course, we got CrossFit Addiction.
Yep, there you go. CrossFit Addiction.
In Kennesaw.com,
Georgia. Yep, CrossFitAddiction.com.
And CrossFitGarage.com. Gym up here. The official home of the Garage Game Series.
Yep.
What else? We got anything else?
We're good.
We're good? All right, cool. Rock and roll. Another one in the books. We will see you guys soon.
Really
Hopefully
soon.
Really soon.
As soon as I change my hat.
As soon as you it all happens live. All right,
awesome,
we'll see you guys.